Do you remember what it felt like to play Dota 2 back in 2014 to 2016? Not just playing the game, but living in that world? There was a certain magic to it. A raw, unpolished beauty that just felt different. It wasn't about cosmetics. It wasn't about leveling up your battle pass. It wasn't about grinding for skins or ultra-rare voice lines. It was about Dota. Pure, brutal, addicting Dota. Booting up the game back then felt like logging into something ancient and mysterious. The main menu was simple, almost ugly compared to today, but in the best way possible. Dark tones, ominous music, a friends list that was alive. Chat rooms full of random people memeing, flaming, making custom lobbies. There was no seasonal UI update forced down your throat. No pop-up telling you about a $40 bundle. Just Dota. You logged in because you wanted to battle, not because you wanted to collect cosmetics. Remember the old heroes? They didn't have 10,000 particle effects swirling around them. No glowing neon ultra-mega arcana immortal wings of eternal light. Heroes were gritty, raw. Juggernaut looked like an actual warrior, not a carnival float. Invoker looked like a mad wizard, not a K-pop star. Pudge was terrifying, not shiny. Even the map itself looked darker. The trees looked more organic. The terrain felt dangerous. Roshan's pit was genuinely intimidating. And then, the music. That old-school Dota 2 soundtrack hit different. It wasn't cinematic for the sake of being cinematic. It was ambient, mysterious, almost melancholic. It felt like you were entering a battle arena lost in time. And speaking of battles, back then, fights were chaos. But a different kind of chaos. They were slower, more deliberate. You could feel the weight of every initiation. Heroes didn't have infinite mobility. You jumped in, it meant something. There weren't 25 blink abilities per team. There weren't 50 ways to instantly escape. Positioning mattered. Vision mattered. Smoke ganks were art. Remember those drawn-out Roshan fights? Where both teams would just stare at each other nervously for minutes, trading wards, checking inventories, waiting for someone to make the first mistake. Contrast that with today, where Rosh dies in 5 seconds, mid-fight, and suddenly everyone has cheese and Aegis. It's not just gameplay, though. It's the atmosphere of the whole scene. The Dota 2 community from 2014 to 2016 was insane. But in the best way, Twitch chat was alive. Every pro game felt personal. Players were meme lords. Trash talk was hilarious. Dinda wasn't just a player. He was a legend. RTZ wasn't just good. He was a myth. Puppy drafts were borderline witchcraft. Sama games were must-watch TV, a mixture of genius and disaster. Pro tournaments felt sacred. TI4, TI5, TI6. These weren't just events. They were historical moments. Remember the TI5 All-Star game where Techies was picked and the whole arena lost its mind? Or Deck's Cinderella run in TI5? Or Universe's $6 million Echo Slam? Every TI felt handcrafted. The compendium wasn't just monetization. It was fun. Stretch goals were exciting. You wanted to hit them to see what wild stuff Al would add. Fast forward to today, and the Battle Pass feels like a shopping list. Multiple bundles, multiple currencies, multiple arcs, treasuries, levels, and a partridge in a pear tree. It's exhausting. Remember when Dota 2 cosmetics were actually rare? Owning a golden baby Roshan was peak flex. Having a level 1000 compendium felt insane. Today, you could buy 10 levels every 3 days. Nothing feels special. And don't get me started on hero design. Back then, heroes felt like they belonged in the same world. Cohesive, grim, dark fantasy. Today, we have anime heroes, rainbow spell effects, particle explosions that sometimes make it literally hard to even see what's happening in fights. It's cool at first glance, but it wears off because it's noise, it's clutter, it's style over substance. Old Dota was gritty, dirty, and weirdly beautiful because of it. Even the toxicity was different. Trash talk was hilarious. All chat was alive. Memes were organic, created in the heat of battle. People got mad, but they also laughed about it. Today's Dota feels paranoid. Muted lobbies, reports flying everywhere, players walking on eggshells. Is it less toxic now? Maybe technically, but it also feels sterile, lifeless. Back then, every match was a story. That Techie's game where he ruined everyone's life. That Meepo guy who solo carried. That Earth Spirit who whiffed every kick and still won somehow. Stories you told your friends for days. Today, it feels like everyone just silently queues up, plays as optimally as possible, and leaves. Valve used to surprise us. Wraith Knight, Dire Tide, Frostivus, Nemesis Assassin Event, Aghonim's Labyrinth. We look forward to patches because they brought wacky, fun stuff. Now, you pray for a patch just so the broken hero of the month gets nerfed. Remember when new heroes dropping was a big deal? Monkey King's reveal was hype incarnate. Arc Warden was mysterious and terrifying. Oracle and Winter Wyvern shook the meta. Now, you barely feel it. New heroes get added like DLC packs. No soul, no event, no vibe. Let's be honest, Dota 2 today is still one of the greatest competitive games ever made. Mechanically, it's sharp, clean, balanced most of the time. But old Dota, 2014 to 2016 Dota, that was special. It was culture. It was soul. It was ours. No battle pass or $70 ultra cosmetic can recreate that. Because what made old Dota beautiful wasn't the graphics, or the skins, or the sound effects. It was the people, the memories, the chaos, the friendships, the heartbreaks, the comebacks. It was real. And honestly, I don't know if we'll ever get that back. But for those of us who were there, for those late-night games, those pub stories, those unforgettable TI moments, those memes that only OG Dota players understand, we'll always remember. Old Dota wasn't just a game. It was home. There was a time in Dota 2, around 2014 to 2016, when the game truly felt alive in a way that's hard to explain to anyone who didn't live through it. Back then, every game felt like a wild adventure. Every pick, every strategy, every item build, it was coming straight from your own brain, your own creativity, and your understanding of the match you were in. People respected that Dota 2 was a game of adaptation, improvisation, and deep strategy. But now, it feels like ranked games have turned into glorified YouTube tutorials. This is one of the saddest parts of modern Dota 2. The rise of YouTube builds and pro player guides has absolutely destroyed the soul of ranked games. What used to be a game about creativity and on-the-fly decision-making has been replaced with copy-paste mentality. People today don't even try to read the match anymore. They just copy whatever their favorite streamer or pro player built, completely ignoring that those builds were created in a totally different environment, with perfect teams, high-level coordination, and specific drafts. And the worst part? They copy these builds in ranked pubs where none of those conditions exist. Every game now, you'll see someone forcing a meme pro build that only works in 1 out of 100 situations. And surprise, surprise, they have neither the team, the coordination, nor the mechanical skill to execute it. But they tried anyway, because that's what the pro player did. It completely kills the dynamic nature of Dota 2. Back in 2014 to 2016, if you were an offlaner, you were respected for knowing how to build for your team. You bought Pipe. You bought Crimson Guard. You got AC, Shivas, Vlads, all the beautiful aura items that actually turn a losing game around and empowered your carry shine. Today, nobody builds these items. People will literally pick off Lane Doom or Centaur and start building Mage Slayer, Eternal Shroud, Manta, or Kaiasange because they saw in a pro game or a YouTube video. But this isn't a pro match. This is ranked pubs. And when you build like that in a random solo queue game with strangers who can't coordinate or play like a tier 1 team, you're basically playing Dota 2 like a solo single-player RPG. And that mindset is killing games left and right. Nobody wants to build for the team anymore. Nobody wants to adapt. Nobody wants to think. Everybody wants to be a highlight reel carry, even when they're playing off lane or position 4. And the tragedy is that Dota 2 was never about that. Dota 2 was always about creativity, strategy, adaptation, reading the game like a chessboard and figuring out what your team needs right now to win. That's why old Dota 2 games from 2014 to 2016 felt so beautiful. Every player had their own style. Every offlaner had their own approach. Every mid had their own tech. Every carry had their own philosophy. And when a team won, it wasn't because they copied a cookie-cutter build. It was because they adapted better, communicated better, and outthought their opponents. That's what made Dota 2 special. Today, most ranked games feel like a battle of who copied the YouTube meta better. And whoever fails to execute it gets reported, flamed, and blamed, even if they were playing Dota properly for their specific game. That's the saddest part. Dota 2 is a game that rewards thinking, that rewards adaptation, that rewards creativity. But modern Dota players, raised on pro player tutorials and YouTube guide culture, have forgotten this. They don't build for the game. They build for themselves. They don't think, what does my team need? They think, what will make me look good? That's why so many games are miserable now. That's why people are losing games they should easily win. That's why Ranked has turned into a coin flip fiesta of bad builds and wrong rolls. And it makes me wonder, will we ever get back that old Dota 2 magic? The era when players use their brain instead of blindly following whatever's trending on YouTube? I honestly don't know. But one thing is for sure, the Dota 2 of 2014 to 2016 was something truly special. And unless players rediscover the beauty of creativity, adaptation, and team play, we might never experience that feeling again. And that's heartbreaking. But at the end of the day, maybe that's what separates the old Dota 2 from a new Dota 2. Back then, it was never about copying what someone else did. It was about figuring it out yourself. It was about thinking for your team. It was about creativity over copying, team play over selfishness, adaptation over ego. That's what made every game feel different. That's what made every win feel earned. That's what made every loss a lesson. Dota 2 today might have better graphics, fancier skins, a bigger esports scene. But what it's lost is that raw, gritty, unpredictable soul that made the game legendary in the first place. So maybe the real meta we need to return to isn't a patch. It's a mindset. Think for yourself. Play for your team. Adapt like a true Dota player. Because no YouTube build, no pro tutorial, no meta guide will ever replace the greatest item in Dota history. Your brain. Use it. That's the Dota 2 I miss. That's the Dota 2 I'll always love. And maybe, just maybe, if enough of us remember that, we can bring that magic back. One game at a time. But hey, I really want to know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Do you miss the old Dota 2 days? Or do you love the way Dota 2 has evolved today? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. I'll be reading and replying to as many as I can. Let's have a real Dota discussion. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Take care of yourself, be creative in your games, and I'll see you legends in the next one. Peace.